Today we're bringing you our list of our favorite acoustic guitars that are under $2,000. Stay tuned. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee.
And I'm Cooper Greenberg.
We're here with Alamo Music in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos. If you want to support the channel, visit our spring store link below for custom swag, and check out our podcast, the Fretboard Confessional, wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah, it's fun to do things with your arms when everyone's just going to be seeing the reel that we have at the beginning.
Yeah, and we don't have guitars in our hands.
And we don't have guitars.
We're swimming.
So today, we are going to show you our favorite guitars that we have in store that fall in a particular price range. And it's interesting to do this video as a follow-up years later because price ranges have changed a lot.
Yeah, and we recently dropped a little under $1,000, and I made a comment of how, you know, there's less and less guitars under $1,000. There's even less guitars between $1,000 and $2,000. And I've heard on the news that the middle class is shrinking.
What?
Yeah.
That's a good thing that I'm not in the middle class. I'll leave that to your imagination.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So it was, you know, some Fender stuff, Taylor stuff, talked about some Guild stuff, Yamaha stuff, Furch stuff was not in there. But anyway, so 1,000 to 2,000, I feel like this is a pretty common range that people give us when they come to the store. Mm-hmm. With the under 1,000, a lot of times it's beginners or somebody looking for something to either gift or have like an extra little something hanging around that they can travel with, whatever.
It's weird to say that a little bit because, you know, when you say beginners under 1,000, that's a lot of guitars.
Yeah.
At the $899 price point, some people might go, that's for beginners. Yeah, maybe. But there's also very, very crowded space between like $200 and $500.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of guitars that are right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, 1,000 to 2,000, there used to be more guitars occupying this space, and a lot of those kind of tried and true models that people, I think, still think of in this price range have moved north of $2,000.
Yeah.
Some have even moved close to $3,000 or beyond $3,000. It's the nature of, you know, inflation, but also just kind of what's happening with a lot of manufacturers' ranges. I think in addition to seeing some things go up in price, we've also seen new series get introduced to kind of take those spots.
Yeah.
And new manufacturers emerge. So.
Yeah, and so I think that's a good segue into the first one, which if we made this several years ago, probably the number one guitar that we would say between $1,000 and $2,000 would be a Taylor 314 CE.
Yeah.
No longer under $2,000. And if you want to grab that one, I think, because this is, you know, we'll talk about each one as we go, but my thought is typically for $1,000 to $2,000 guitar, you should be thinking bare minimum all solid wood. This is not an all solid wood guitar, but it has, like, it's this weird trade-off, right? Mm-hmm. The way I see it, every other guitar that we're going to talk about today is solid wood, but they're satin. This is an all-gloss guitar, if that means anything to you, but it is layered back and sides, and this is a 214 CE Plus, and it's a great guitar.
It's a great guitar. You know, you get a lot for the money. Some models that are still very popular, like the 224, have actually gone north of that $2,000 price point. But, you know, you get the tailor fit finish, you know, expert build quality. The playability has always been there, which I think really grabs a lot of people. The pickup, I actually emphasize this to a lot of people because I think it's stellar that the same pickup in this guitar is the same pickup that'd be in a more expensive guitar. And I think that's a plus. The aero case that comes with this.
It is literally a plus.
It's a plus.
Yeah.
It's the aero case that comes with this, right?
Yes.
And I think that has turned a lot of heads since Taylor introduced it, because we've had some people buying high-end stuff that comes with a case and opting, like, can I switch that out for the aero case instead?
Yeah.
And I get that. I actually prefer a really good quality bag over a heavy hard case most of the time. You know, I recently purchased a mono bag for my electric guitars, and check out mono on our website. But literally, I am taking stuff out of hard shell cases, putting it in there with all the accessories to travel with, and I was putting my Les Paul case up, and it felt like a guitar was still in there. That's how heavy the case is.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think there's a lot of pluses going on with this. most of the sound's going to come out of the top, and there have been some changes to the way that these are braced. So, we've got C-class bracing going on, more resonance, torrefaction too, right? And so you're getting a lot of additional features with these guitars, for the money.
Yeah, and on the other hand, if you did want to go for a all solid wood Taylor, between $1,000 and $2,000, you're basically only looking at the American Dream series, which are great guitars too. Not all these today will be demoed because we've talked a lot about them, and just like the last one, I'll link the videos in there. But American Dream, if you had to pick a favorite, because they're also creeping up, what would be your choice for American Dream guitars?
I like the original Grand Pacific body shape that they introduced there. I'm a fan of that body shape anyway, but I loved the minute that they introduced a Grand Auditorium into that lineup. So the 8014 or 24, I liked them both. And those are a great example to your initial point. There are trade-offs here. Yeah. So, for under $2,000, you can get this that looks the part of a high-end guitar. It's full gloss. You get all of these things with it in the pickup. If you are okay with an aesthetic that's much more muted, you can forego binding and gloss and a bunch of other things, and you could go with an American Dream and get all solid wood construction made in the USA. Yeah. It's always funny to talk about like where it's built when it comes to Taylor, because literally the factories are 60 miles apart.
I was looking at Tecate on a map the other day, and it's literally like right there.
Well, Bob Taylor had this great point once to someone where he said, because he didn't live in El Cajon, he lives outside of El Cajon, so if he wants to go to either factory, he just turns left or right as he's leaving his house. So he can go to either one. So, that speaks to, I think, a closeness when it comes to production. It's why these are so good. Yeah. I own a GS Mini. You own a GS Mini. I never pick up that guitar and go, oh, yeah, this is made in Mexico, and think of it lesser than.
It has ascended that kind of conversation. Other good thing about this, just like in the American Dream series, different body shapes, but other body shapes available. You can get a 210, 212, or 214 C plus 217. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, I mean, it's nice because if you like the vibe and the look, there's options and body sizes and everything. But I think for a Taylor, I'd probably push somebody towards this. 214 and all its variations have long been a steady, beloved guitar for a lot of people, kind of jumping up into that higher next level type thing.
And it's a dual body shape. It's a really Swiss Army knife, so to speak.
So next, I'm going to the tried and true.
A classic.
Which probably was on the list last time.
Well, this is an interesting one on this list because this is one of the few guitars that has remained around its price point for a while.
Yeah, it's gone up slightly, but not like, say, a 214 may have, or a 314. 0015M, all mahogany, classic, staple in the Martin line, and also something kind of worth talking about the 15 series and some of the changes a little bit, because this guitar is basically the same with, I guess, a small kind of change.
A small change to the
case change.
Yeah, and so I know that Martin communicated to us that the tuner change, which has always been open back tuners, but had the chrome knobs, was due to supply issues. So they switched to this, and I think it works with the aesthetic. Taylor, interestingly enough, also uses these dark button tuners on their all mahogany guitar, so I think the aesthetic matches there. But they also did a case change. These used to come with a hard shell case back when, if you look far back on our channel, I first did a huge thing on the 15 series because they're some of my favorite guitars. I can tell you definitively that the case change was for price considerations to keep this around where they wanted it to be. And I will say, if it comes to that, I appreciate that. Keep the guitar, priced like it is, and give me a gig bag. That's fine.
Yeah. So this now has the same Road Series gig bag that you'd see from the 10s all the way up. Otherwise, kind of like we're talking about with all solid wood guitars in the price range, you're looking at something pretty low-key, nothing aesthetically adorned outside of just kind of a simple rosette, no binding, satin finish, but all solid wood, and always a classic that I think, most people that want an all-solid mahogany guitar kind of gravitate towards this one. There's the 12-fret version, 0015 SM. There's the Streetmaster version. There's the 00 version. There's Dreadnought. There is Streetmaster Dreadnought. And there's also now the D15E, which we have not talked about really on the channel, but that throws it all off. So while this is still my pick for the 15 series and for Martin in the price range, it's worth discussing the fact that you might see a D15E out there, not a D15M. The M will be made in America. The E has a pickup, but it's made in Mexico.
Yeah, I don't like it just because it's confusing.
It's confusing.
And I don't like it for other reasons that we don't have time to go into conspiracy theories today, people. But I don't like the D15E because of what it might mean. I love the rest of the 15 series though, because like you said, it gives you so much. It has a wonderful woody, dry sound, and it's made in the U.S. And you know, they originally came out. My understanding is around the Great Depression in order to present a guitar for people that kind of cut through all of the features you didn't need to give you what you did need. Similar to the American Dream, Taylor basically took that formula that Martin did, almost 100 years ago, and did it, when the pandemic was here. I love that. Despite its origins, it stayed through all this time because it's such a great guitar. It's always been, regardless of price, it's one of my favorite Martins. And so I think that speaks to the fact that it's on this list. It's a huge value, but regardless of that value, it's something I would still like to own. And really everything here kind of represents stuff we don't. That's how we put these lists together. Would I buy this guitar? Yes.
So the other thing about this, one side note, there's a 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18. There's no 14. My first thought is like, do an all mahogany Mexican-made series and call it the 14s. But then I was like, well, they denote custom shop models as D14 and 0014. So maybe they don't do that. But that's with the 12 frets, they do D12, so it's like whatever.
Well, they already had a Rhodes series that was basically like what they were doing. So I digress.
Either way, also diversion. We did a video a while ago about solid mahogany guitars, and the 8022 was on that list, the American Dream. Great option in the price range, and also the Guild M20 and Guild D20, both great. So if you're looking for a satin mahogany, you have other options.
And, we also had that Yari. This tone wood combination is fantastic. And if there's one thing, I was saying it to someone the other day, Martin used to have something that was a little more upscale like this. It was the Jeff Tweedy model. They haven't had anything like that for a bit, and I think that's a hole in their line. All mahogany is fantastic.
Yep, so there you go. So there's Martin and Taylor, but now let's get into something that we haven't shown up on the channel.
Something a little bit different.
We have talked in the past about the Inspired by Gibson acoustic guitars.
This headstock is wrong.
There's been change, as you can see, and kind of a major shift in these guitars over the last little bit, and we talked about it with some on the electric side. But this is the 1957 SJ-200 Epiphone with a open book headstock.
Yeah, so there's Inspired by Gibson, and there's Inspired by Gibson Custom Shop. And
boom.
I'm on record. So if you have watched our channel for any period of time, or if you go back, there was a video I did of a guitar Epiphone does not make anymore. It was a Dreadnought. It was all solid wood, and frankly, it was too cheap.
Was it a master build?
It was. I don't know if it qualified as a master build at the time. It was like a D4 or something. I don't even remember the model name off the top of my head. But in the video, I was like, they were like $500, and I was just thinking, this doesn't make sense. And we did the video. We sold a bunch of them, and they discontinued them because honestly, I didn't know how they could be profitable. I'm a huge fan with the master build stuff as well. Just they can really execute on a quality guitar, all solid wood. I can't tell you the number of times I put something like this in someone's hands, and they were impressed by it. So it's cool for this to come out.
Yeah, I think Hummingbird and J45, Inspired by Gibson, have been probably the most popular Epiphone acoustics that we've had, and like since they've been released, but they've kind of overshadowed everything else. There's some good Epiphones out there, the Masterbuilt Frontier and the Texan, not the USA versions, but the import versions. They're great. This is just something that came in recently, and this is kind of at least our stand-in for this being a series that I think is great. It teeters on the line, like, you know, with price, and this one's definitely an expensive guitar, but again, you're not getting in the door with Gibson anywhere close.
You're over $5,000 for a guitar like this if it says
Yeah.
Gibson on the same shaped headstock.
I think the least expensive Gibson acoustic right now is the J35 Faded, and that's over $2,000, and it is way less built than this, I guess. I mean, that it almost feels like bare wood. It is a nice guitar. We've shot the video. You can see it, and I will give you a spoiler
It's rough
alert.
feeling. You could sand other guitars with it.
It probably won't be in our top guitars 2,000, 3,000 list, but I think just in general, one between 1,000 and 2,000, if you've always wanted an SJ-200, this is probably the best version that they've put out in the price range that can kind of compete. There's an older video of you playing an Epiphone versus a Gibson.
Yeah.
And I think all the comments were like, it's a wild difference in sound and all that, you know. But I think this is an awesome guitar, all solid wood, and
Love the neck, too.
really nice fit and finish on there, and the headstock.
Yeah.
The headstock,
It's,
not a headstock.
It's the Gibson open book headstock. So you don't have to buy the chips-in adapter anymore to go on the
No
Epiphone
more
guitar.
adapters.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I thought it'd be more controversial than it has been.
Yeah.
That they did this because that is, you know, I mean, if we just get down to it, some people paid just for the headstock, and sometimes it was for the made in the USA. When we've done comparisons in the past on a guitar like this to a Gibson, you know, at the end of the day, it always comes down to this law of diminishing returns. As you go up in price on a guitar, you know, less and less is it that much more better. So, you know, is Gibson that looks like this, that says Gibson on the headstock and made in Bozeman, is it 2.5 times better of a guitar?
Yeah.
Probably not. Is it a better guitar? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But this is such a good guitar at the price range, and like you said, the whole series, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're great. And since we haven't shown it off on the channel up to this point, since we've gotten it in, take a listen.
And now we come to two guitars from the same manufacturer. In this case, it's Furch. And these are huge values.
Yeah, this is a brand that would not have been on our previous list, but handily beat out a lot of other guitars because both of these, as a more modern and a more vintage option, insane. I did a video on this one not too long ago, the Vintage Pure with the OM counterpart that sold very quickly after that video. We love these guitars. This is an all-solid guitar for right over $1,400 that is just insane. It rocks. and that is also an all solid guitar
Yep.
for, you know, pretty much
Around 1,500
Yeah.
bucks, 1,600 bucks.
It's got a pickup in it, but
This is their new Violet Deluxe that has the bevel duo.
bevel duo.
So if you haven't seen our videos with Furch guitars featuring that, you've got the armrest bevel here. And it's a bound guitar that has the armrest bevel. And then you've got a bevel on the backside for
Secret
the rib
bevel,
cage. In this case, it's an LR Baggs Element Pro pickup system in it. Like that one. It's all
Yeah.
solid wood, spruce, mahogany with a gig bag.
Yeah.
1,500 some odd dollars. Yeah, it's an impressive feat to get a guitar, either of these, with these specifications at this price point now. I remember back in the day there was a Larrivee DO3 that was around this price,
Yeah.
all solid wood and everything, but that was 15 years ago.
Yeah, these, I mean, it's hard when I did this video. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's like, if you're somebody that really wants just a spruce mahogany dread or OM, and with that, if you really want a spruce mahogany grand auditorium, that's like, just sounds incredible, easy to play, and like the major guitars that you're going to compare these to, this is wildly cheaper
Yeah.
to get and like so good.
I really dig the aesthetics on this Violet too. I love the blank fretboard with the linear side markers. It's really cool. It's a really resonant guitar, both of these.
Yeah.
I picked that up and strummed it and started, just playing a few licks on it, and it's just like, wow. The thinness of the finish combined with, I think, the solid wood and Furch's voicing process, these really, like we always say, kind of punch above their price point.
Yeah.
They're very, very good guitars, and it's an incredible competitive advantage that Furch's bringing them in at this price point.
And one thing I like about the brand too is, you're kind of starting around this price point, and there's very intuitive jumps up in specs and woods.
Like small little iterations.
Small
yeah.
little jumps with minimal price increases along the way. Like you can get something for $1,500 or $1,800 or $2,200. Like,
Yep.
and just kind of add stuff as you go.
Or $6,000.
Yeah, or go all the way up. But yeah, just basically put together a list of the features that you want, and there's something in there within one of the either color series, starting with the violets all the way up to the reds, or in the vintage series, you got, the pure, but then you got more adorned versions with the 2s and 3s and all that, and they're all great. These, just for a, say, $1,400 to $1,600 range within the $1,000 to $2,000, these pretty much hit every single mark, So great guitars. I also have never shown the Violet on the channel, and so I played it, and now take a listen to that one. There you have it. A little Furch action. However, we have one more, and
This one shouldn't be a surprise.
you could have seen it coming. The King returns. The red label. I mean, this, ever since the day it came in, has probably been on your list of top guitars in general.
Well,
you know?
I don't remember what year it was that it came out now, because the pandemic was like time dilation or whatever. But yeah, I think I called it the most important guitar of that year. It was so incredibly impressive, period. And then to have it under $2,000, along with how good of a guitar it is, it's just it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, this thing rocks FGX5. This also goes for the FSX5 and the FG5 and the FS5X being the pickup, which this one has a great one, the Atmos feel. I think this now is $1,649 or somewhere around there. Obviously, we'll have to redo this next month because the prices change every day. But
check our website at alamomusic.com.
Hard shell case, made in Japan. Absolute no frills, just everything you need for a good guitar. None of these, I did own a 214 for a while, but I haven't, bought any of these on the list. However, my endorsement for this is Jared, a friend of mine who we play in a band together, needed a new acoustic. I got him on the FGX5, and now I'm happier playing with that band.
I see it pop up in some of those Texans reels on Instagram.
Yeah, he needed the FGX5 because he had an old Yamaha red label.
Yeah.
And so he needed to update. But this guitar, spruce mahogany, nothing fancy, but bound, wood pickguard.
Torrified spruce.
Is that the term that they use? Is torrified trademarked?
No, it's not. It's a process. So they have a trademark term, just like VTS is a trademark term.
So theirs is ARE.
ARE, yeah.
But it's funny because
which is weird. Now their guitars are.
Their guitars are good. The thing, it's weird because Taylor is like the only one that says torrified.
Yeah.
And then there's thermo-aged and VTS, vintage tone system, ARE, acoustic resonance
Enhancement
experience.
Extreme.
This, it's always been one of our favorites since it came out. Open geared tuners and nice kind of semi-gloss satin type thing, wood pickguard, ebony and ebony. It just rocks.
And the pickup's really cool. I remember when they first showed it to me at NAMM, it was like, it wasn't shown at the show. It was one of those like, let's take you up into this hotel room. And the guy from Yamaha takes me through like this series of like steam tunnels and back staircases. I'm like checking, do I have cell phone service just in case this is something different? And got to see that and was immediately blown away. And one of the first questions was, how do you get this pickup? Because it's like a 3-source deal to not have phase issues. And they just dialed it in perfect. And it's such a natural sound for an acoustic electric guitar.
So did they make you sign an NDA?
No, I should have just like gone out and done a Instagram Live or something.
They made me sign an NDA the first time, and I was so disappointed when I got back in that room. They were like, "We want to show you something pretty cool.
Check it out. It's a new color."
Dude, it wasn't even that. It was like, I'm pretty sure it's come out by now. It was a pair of headphones, and I was like, "Oh, come on, man!"
Like I thought I was gonna see something like Area 51 cool.
Yeah, no, but this is cool. Of course, then the FG9 is just like out there on the floor and nobody is talking about it, and the headphones had to sign the NDA. But Yamaha, as we've said, the Yamaha will have some sort of representation probably in every single price range because they make fantastic guitars. They're kind of in the store the king of the $200 to $500 range.
Yeah, for sure.
There's some worthy competitors there, like we talked about with the Fender packs and everything. But Yamaha just does it great every step of the way. I do think this is probably my all-time favorite of theirs. FG9, incredible guitar, but when it's $4,000 and you can get this for under $2,000, get the FG9. But also get yourself an FG or an FS5 because they rock.
Yeah. No, I always think of it as like this is a really great working musician's guitar because of the price range that it's in and the toned down aesthetic and specifications of it. And the FG9 is the ultimate craftsman experience or
Yeah.
expression that Yamaha does. And I absolutely adore all of them. So
Yamaha has this sort of vibe to them that's like it never goes out of style kind
Yeah.
of thing. There's nothing that's a fad about this guitar or really any of theirs. It's just good quality stuff, nothing you don't need. And I think, a lot of the guitars that we've shown today, there's some new stuff. There's also some tried and trues. The 214 is kind of a modern classic. The 0015 is older, but it's a classic. And the Furch stuff, also kind of the same way. Epiphone, it represents the range, right? But, SJ, J45, Hummingbird, they're never going out of style. So it's weird because in this price range, less options, but, less that I feel really good about, I guess.
yeah, there are a lot of options out there. We comb through, we're featuring stuff that we stock, but we stock what we like and we're featuring what we buy, if that makes sense. And I think these are perennial classics. So.
And here come the comments that say, what about the Eastman G2500 52 FX archtop?
Good product.
I'm sure that's great. Yeah, we don't carry Eastman, all right?
Currently.
We can in the future, hopefully, and then we can
Do you want
redo
us to
this
carry
whole
Eastman?
thing.
How many Eastmans are you going to buy? Put in the comments. Go ahead and put
Let
your
us
order.
know what kind of Eastman you want. We'll get working on it. And you might say, hey, what about Guild? I talked about the M20 and the D20.
Yep.
Who else did we miss?
That we carry? I don't know. That we don't carry?
What's the best Collings under $2,000?
They have a tuner that's come out.
Yeah.
It's under $2,000.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
So, yeah, from what we like, these are our picks. Let us know what you think. Do you have any final thoughts?
No, just, I've stated this in the past. I'll say it again. We are living in the golden age of guitar manufacturing. I was reminded of that in an Uber ride with George Groon, who, lamented in the past how, straight up through the early aughts, you were getting import guitars where the necks would twist and the frets would sprout, and it was made with, non-seasoned wood, and it was just, there was a lot of garbage out there. And so we are privileged in all of these price ranges for Yamaha to make a $300 guitar as good as it is with the FG800 or 329 or whatever it is now. I think that's impressive. That is on display here with this guitar. I love the fact that we have a European company represented here with Furch, and that they're just the Violet that we had was in its original incarnation laminate back and sides, and they changed that to all solid wood, and what a huge value.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. There's a lot. That being said, there's a lot. There's a lot out there, and you and I have played a lot of guitars over the years doing videos. We can really quickly pick something up and find what we like or don't like about it. And so that's why we choose the things that we choose, stock the things that we stock, and are also available to help. So I will finish the video saying this. If you're overwhelmed, that makes a lot of sense. And we have a lot of expertise to kind of help you sort through it, whether it's something that we stock or not. Feel free to reach out and we'll help you find the right guitar to suit your needs.
Yeah, I think, if you're looking for $800 guitar, you could probably find something great, or you can maybe find something you like a little bit better at $1,200. If you're looking for a $2,500 guitar, you might be able to find something that you really like for $1,800. It's just the guideposts that we're setting, but there's so much. It's a spectrum, man. It's a spectrum.
Well, and we had an experience yesterday. Lovely family, guy came in looking for a guitar. He walked out with a 0015.
Mr. Coos.
And Mr. Coots. And he told me he expected to spend more. His expectation was to spend more, but that was the guitar he really
what he got?
Yep.
Boom.
Not this one, but
Not
one
that
like
one.
this. So, yeah. So I think that's the benefit of being able to try things out, and when you can't try things out, relying on people that are very familiar with things can be helpful. So
Yeah.
that's what we're here for.
What's the website?
It's alamomusic.com.
Boom.
That's usually your line. So
Yeah.
alamomusic.com. You can chat with us. Sometimes it's Cooper or I, or one of our highly trained sales associates, to
Crack
sort through all the
team.
needs. When they don't have the answer, they'll gladly tell you, I don't know. let me ask Chris or Cooper.
And then we'll say, let me call the rep.
Yeah.
And
So
then the rep says, ask your customers. They know more than you do.
exactly, the Ron Swanson bit. So so you can chat with us, you can call, come in, email, all those things. We'll be glad to help you find the right guitar. Hopefully it's the one we have. Sometimes it's not. At the end of the day, we just want to help you make music. So, and that's why we do the channel. You know, there's a lot of people out there in Middle America, in that disappearing middle class, that don't have a guitar store near them anymore. So we hope you find these videos helpful. If you do, subscribe, turn on notifications.
Like our videos.
There you go. And keep coming back for more, and then we will see you next time.